Hello, today is Monday, October 12th. Let's take a look at our language arts work for today. First, we're going to read the story, The What and Who of Elections, and then we'll complete the stories. In my second video, we will work on Shift in Verb Tenses page, and we will also work on the R-Controlled Practice page. When you are done with this, make sure you are completing an iReady reading lesson, reading some sort of book, and finishing up any other work that you may have due. All right, let's begin. The what and the who of elections. American citizens can choose their leaders, decide on their laws, or change their laws by voting. Citizens vote during an election. The winners of an election are called public servants, and their job is to help make and carry out laws while in office. In the United States, elections are held for many public offices. The people Americans elect for president, senators, and representatives are public servants and work for the federal government. The President is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, while senators and representatives are members of Congress. They make decisions for the whole country by making or changing laws that affect everyone in the United States. These are all important jobs, and that's why Americans vote for the people who will represent them. In order to vote, you must be a U.S. citizen who is at least 18 years old. In most states, you must also register to vote. Every state has its own laws about registering, and it's important to learn your state's rules before voting. You may cast your vote in a booth at a polling place. You may also mail in your vote. This is called an absentee ballot. A group of people called election officials then count everyone's votes. Everyone has one vote and can cast only one ballot. That is why votes are so important. This is the election process used by the United States to make sure that every citizen has a chance to take part in the government and help choose the people that will serve as their leaders. Now let's take a look at our first question. What is voting? Take a moment, please pause this video and read through the choices and select the best one. All right, now that you've had a turn, let's go ahead and try it ourselves as a group. What is voting? Is it the process that public servants use to help make and carry out laws while in office? The process that the president uses to make decisions for the whole country? The process that U.S. citizens use to choose leaders, decide on laws, or change laws, or the process that states use to teach U.S. citizens about laws. If you said C, you are correct. Voting is the process that U.S. citizens use to choose our leaders, decide on laws, or when we want to change a law. What is the author describing in this text? Please pause this video, take a moment, and pick your selection. What does the author describe in this text? How and why U.S. citizens vote for their leaders? How and why people decide to become public servants? How citizens in different states can register to vote? Or how the process of voting has changed over time. Well, it doesn't talk about how the process of voting has changed over time, so that one's for sure not correct. It does talk a little bit about how different states might have different laws, but it doesn't tell me about the different states and their different rules, so it's not C. It doesn't talk about why people decide to become public servants. Why would somebody become president? Why would somebody become a congressman? It didn't talk about that at all. So that means the answer is A. How and why U.S. citizens vote for their leaders. Number 3. Senators, representatives, and the president have very important and powerful jobs. What evidence from the text best supports that conclusion? So how do we know that these people, the senators, representatives, and president, have very important and powerful jobs? Go ahead and pause this video, read through your choices, and please select one. Okay, what evidence best supports this conclusion that the senators, representatives, and president have very important and powerful jobs? Is it because senators, representatives, and the president are all elected by the people? Is it because senators and representatives are members of Congress? Is it because they can make or change laws that affect everyone in the U.S.? Or is it because senators, representatives, and the president are all public servants? Well, if they're very important and powerful jobs, that means it's going to make some kind of change, right? So it is actually C. They can make laws or change laws that affect all of us in the United States. Number 4, based on the text, why might U.S. citizens decide to vote in an election? Please pause this video, read your choices, and make the best choice. Okay, now that you've had a chance to check your choice, based on the text, why might U.S. citizens decide to vote in an election? Is it to make decisions for the whole country about important issues? To become public servants themselves and to work for the federal government? To prove that they are at least 18 years old? Or is it to have a say in who represents them in the government? Well, it's probably not C. I'm not trying to prove that I'm 18 years old just to vote. And it's not because they want to become public servants. Sometimes we make decisions for the whole country, but sometimes we're making decisions for just our local communities. So it's not A. It is D, to have a say in who represents them in government. What is the main idea of this story? Is it the process in the U.S. has changed over time in many ways? The process of voting in the U.S. has changed over time in many ways. Citizens of the U.S. vote during elections to choose the people that they will serve as their leaders. In order to vote, you must be a U.S. citizen who is at least 18 years old and is registered to vote. Or the winners of an election are called public servants, and they help to make and carry out laws. Remember, the main idea is the overall idea of the story. So what is this mostly about? Please pause this video, make your choice. Okay, welcome back. If you chose B, you are correct. Citizens of the U.S. vote during elections to choose the people that will serve as their representative, as their leaders. These other details are how you would vote and why you vote, but the overall is the how and the why. Read this paragraph from the text. You may cast your vote in a booth at a polling place. You may also mail in your vote. This is called an absentee ballot. A group of people, called election officials, then count everyone's votes. Everyone has one vote and can only cast one ballot. That is why votes are so important. Why might the author have used the words you and your in this paragraph about voting? So why would they put these words in there? So why does he say you and your in this paragraph? Is it to make readers feel like they can take part in the voting process? To suggest that the author cannot take part in the voting process? To force readers to make a choice between voting at a polling place or mailing in their votes? Or to make readers feel like the voting process doesn't have anything to do with them? Please pause this video and choose A, B, C, or D. Welcome back. If you thought it was A, you are correct. It is to make readers feel like they can take part in the voting process because it's saying I, me, you, may also mail in my vote. I can cast my vote in a booth at a polling place. So all of these yous are indicating that he says I can take part in the voting process. All right, and our final question. Choose the answer that best completes the sentence below. Jobs of the president, senators, and representatives are all important jobs. Word, Americans vote for the people who will represent them. So let's try inputting some of these words over here to see if it makes sense. Jobs of the president, senators, and representatives are all important jobs before Americans vote for the people who will represent them, but Americans vote for the people who will represent them, even though Americans vote for the people who will represent them, or so Americans vote for the people who will represent them. Please take a moment and make a choice. All right, so if you have made a choice, let's see which one you should have chosen. So, but does not work, right? Doesn't make sense. Before also does not make sense. Even though does not make sense, but the word so fits in really easily. So since the jobs of the president, senators, and representatives are all important, so Americans are voting for the people who will represent them. I would also accept the word but. All right, that's it. Make sure you watch the next video on how to complete the shift and verb tenses and are controlled vowels. Thanks. Bye.